What's going on, everybody? This is Living in Arizona Now, and today we're going to talk about the water crisis in Arizona. Uh, Today, we're going to talk about 5 to 6 areas that are actually legitimately at risk if the Colorado River in particular goes dry. We're going to talk about where Phoenix gets its water from, as well as Tucson, and then we're going to talk about some of the reasons why these places are at risk. If you guys are excited for this video, smash up the likes as we continue to build this community and talk about things related to Arizona. By the way, I am doing Arizona coaching for people who are considering relocation. If you guys have questions, you guys can contact me directly and one-on-one. We can either do email or phone call. I have pinned the link to the top of this chat, and I will pin a link to the top of the video. Let's get into it. First up, we're going to talk about where Arizona gets its where Arizona gets its water from. Thank you to everyone who's smashing up the likes. I see you all in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. Restored Data, Todd Place, checking in from Prescott. Gail, from where are you tuning in from, Gail? And then we got RWR and some other people tuning in. We've got Wolverine from Flagstaff. Thank you to everyone for giving a shout out. All right, first up, current water reserves and storage, Salt River Project. Okay, that's where we get 55% of the water for Phoenix. That includes Roosevelt, Bartlett Lake, which are along the Verde River, and then you got, Bartlett and Horseshoe are along the Verde, and then you've got along the Salt River, Roosevelt, Saguaro, Canyon Lake, and Apache Lake. Okay, all of those lakes, as of recently, are around 60 to 70% capacity. That's really good considering where the Colorado River is. What we're going to talk about next. But 55% of Phoenix's water supply comes from the Salt River Project. So we're doing pretty good on that one. That one's holding up Phoenix pretty well, considering what's going on in other places like Las Vegas, for example. Now, the Colorado River, which is a river that's basically feeding Los Angeles or parts of California, Las Vegas, which is not doing so hot, and then you got parts of Utah that funnel off that, as well as Phoenix. And then it's like an allotment. It's a tier-based system. That one is not doing so hot. Lake Mead, I think, is around 20 to 30%. Same with Lake Powell. We don't have the exact numbers as we get deeper into summer, but I think it's around like 32%. So if that continues to run dry, that's not going to be good for Las Vegas. So they're really not looking too hot. I know a lot of people consider Vegas versus Phoenix. Well, there's some reasons why not to consider Las Vegas, right? So Phoenix also gets its water from the aquifers under the ground. So state law requires 100-year assured supply for new developments. They say there's about 500 plus years of groundwater. So we'll see about that. Now, underground storage, banked water, Phoenix and Arizona has about 12 MAF underground, mostly in rural aquifers as a drought buffer. So they say in the short term, Phoenix has enough water for 10 to 20 years. But there are certain parts of Phoenix that have already experienced some problems, and we're going to talk about that. The things that you have to pay attention to if you're moving to Arizona or if you live in Arizona, the Colorado River water collapse. So as less snow melt comes off the Rockies, or as more urbanization takes place along that tributary, you have to pay attention to what's going on. I mean, if Lake Mead or Lake Powell ever gets below like 20%, watch out. Seriously, because that would be a downtrend in the wrong direction. So long-term risk included, we've got Colorado River, Lake Mead, and then you've got groundwater overuse in places like Buckeye and Queen Creek. Now we're going to talk about the places that are really straining the regional supply. And those two are two of the fastest growing areas, Buckeye and Queen Creek. So if you're moving out to Queen Creek, I'm not saying it's an emergency situation right now, but you do have to pay attention both in Buckeye and Queen Creek to the situation. Thank you, everyone, smashing up the likes. Give you guys a shout out. Coming in from Alaska, RV in Casa Grande. Restored Data says there is only so much you can capture for water from rivers and rain. We have a look for more ways to increase supply. Yeah, we're going to talk about desalination, which is getting water from the ocean capture. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But last time I saw a really heavy monsoon about 2 or 3 years ago, I remember, because the dirt in Arizona is really hard. It's like a clay, right? And then there's caliche underneath that, which is a really hard clay and a really hard like stone, almost dirt. And so when it rains, a lot of the water just like runs off into washes. And then guess what? I don't know where it goes. It doesn't seem to go into any sort of catchment. I've seen like the Cave Creek running, Cave Creek up North Phoenix, and then I saw, other areas around like New River and stuff. Where was all that rain runoff going? I mean, I was surprised they weren't catching it. I don't know. I don't know if it just melts away. It seems like, it goes into these like you guys see them all around Arizona, these parks, right? They're like culverts, they're like, and they fill up with water, but it'll be really cold or it'll be really hot after a monsoon, and then it just dries up. So you'll have this big, huge park filled with a pond of water, and then it just dries up. So it evaporates essentially. So that's not good. I would say that that's something they need to pay attention to, what they do with all that monsoon water runoff. Someone said government needs to step up as wells are running dry in Cochise County. Yeah, let's talk about some of these areas where there is the problem with the capacity of water in some areas. So in the Phoenix metro area, along with Queen Creek and Buckeye, Rio Verde foothills in Scottsdale area, they recently limited the amount of water. Residents rely on expensive trucked in water out there in Rio Verde. The interesting thing is it's right next to the Verde River. I mean, that's the name. Verde River, Rio Verde. You would think they wouldn't have a problem. I mean, the Verde runs pretty strong. I don't know why they're trucking in water. If there was any place in Phoenix that shouldn't be having an issue, it'd be the Rio Verde foothills, but they are having water issues. So it's a high problem and no long-term solution yet. Don't ask me why. Buckeye, West Phoenix Metro, that's another area that should not be running dry, just because that's where three rivers come together. You've got the Gila River, the Salt River, and the Agua Fria all kind of come together right there in that Buckeye area, at least before they dammed up everything. But that whole area was a fertile area. That's why they have a lot of crops out there in Buckeye, because that was like a Three Rivers area. But they have a very high projected problem, very high problem. Kingman, Mojave County. So those of you moving out there to Kingman, where are you guys going to get your water from? Mostly from groundwater. Experts warn it could face shortages within decades, especially as it grows and if the drought continues. Because someone says, "Oh, we're in a drought." It's not just a drought; it's a multi-year drought. This is something that's been going on for years now. This drought. It's not just something that just kind of pops up. We have one dry year, and then it's like we're slowly but surely in a drought, especially around the Phoenix area. The interesting thing about Phoenix, it doesn't matter if Phoenix isn't getting rain. It all comes down to what's going on up in the White Mountains. If the White Mountains are getting rain, then Phoenix is good. If the White Mountains are getting snow and snow melt, then we're good. So it could be bone dry down in Phoenix, but if the White Mountains are getting snowpack, you're good. That's where you need to be paying attention to if you really wanted to track it, the White Mountains. Thank you, everyone, smashing up the likes. Next up, we have Payson in Gila County. This one's right there along a couple tributaries as well. You ever go around Payson, you'll see there's plenty of tributaries, it seems like, little creeks in particular, but they got their fragile water sources come from the mountain. Okay. So drought and wildfires threaten supply. Every time there's a wildfire out there in Payson along the Mogollon Rim, they got to go into those lakes and reservoirs and pull as much water as they can. The interesting thing about this, and I was surprised to see Payson on this list, is because if you go up on the Mogollon Rim, they got lots of lakes up there, and those lakes seem to be doing all right. But there's, for some reason, down there off the Mogollon Rim down below, they are having an issue. Now you have Wilcox and Cochise County in rural southeastern Arizona. They have unregulated agricultural pumping that has drained the wells, leaving residents with dry taps. So this is a problem down in southeastern Arizona. And then you have La Paz County down in Colorado River area. That's out there by Quartzsite. You also have like Parker, Lake Havasu City. Now that's the southern part of where the Colorado River comes in, but they've got a bit of an issue down there, so they can't really build up that part of Arizona because it's so hot too. I mean, it's so hot over there, it's not even funny. And then you have Tucson. How's Tucson doing? Well, they're more prepared than most, but aquifer depletion and Colorado River cuts are putting a strain on Tucson. there's no real river that actively runs through Tucson. There used to be. The Tucson had a big river that goes through there, but they have a lot of groundwater supply in Tucson, so that's good. Now, what can be done to help this problem? Thank you, everyone, smashing up the likes. I see you guys out there. I'll be turning it over to the live chat here in a minute. What's up, Ron? What's up, JT? What's up, Schmonsequences? And we got lots of people tuning in. Gulf of California. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But we got to get back on this here. So, groundwater regulations. New laws limit wildcat pumping. Okay, so wildcat pumping is something that you need to pay attention to if you're going to be getting into all this. But they have a couple different of the. Hang on one second. Okay, sorry. The next one is. All right, what do we have here? Sorry about that. Desalination. Arizona is exploring ocean water imports. So we've talked about this in the past. Where can Arizona get salt water into places like Tucson and Phoenix? Well, the first option would be the Sea of Cortez, Gulf of California, as some people call it, but it's called the Sea of Cortez. But you'd have to be reliant on Mexico. And, with all the trade kind of this way, it's like, do you really want to be reliant on a foreign country for your water supply? And I would say in the short term, sounds like a good idea. I mean, blue gold, we're talking about blue gold. I mean, that's what it is, right? But taking salt water and translating it into fresh drinking water. We used to do this in the Navy on an aircraft carrier. I remember all of our water that we would drink was desalinated. Singapore does desalination, I think, quite a bit. I think Dubai does desalination on a large scale. So they say the downside to desal is all the salt that's left over. It kind of creates a little bit of a problem. What to do with all that salt? I guess it's not good for the soil. So we'll see what ends up happening with desalination. The only other idea would be to bring the water in from Southern California. You've got mountains that you've got to traverse, which you could see if you ever go to Los Angeles, how they bring the water in over the mountains through the grapevine and all that down into Los Angeles. Quite interesting. But they have some desal out there in California. I would say that's probably the safest for national security reasons, that you would just put it maybe in an area around like Oceanside or Dana Point or somewhere around like Orange County area, and then kind of poured it in. But you'd have to get through the mountains. It wouldn't be a canal, I don't think, right? It would have to be a pipeline, a massive pipeline. But it seems like Americans these days are a little bit hesitant to do anything that's like a major modern architectural marvel. It seems like the second they start talking about mega projects, the environmentalists come in from one end, and the red tape people come in, the bureaucrats come in, and then the locals start complaining. And it's just like it's coming from all. You can't get things done. I mean, how are you going to get things done when you got so many people trying to cut off the plans? I mean, I don't know how you get people to get on the same page to do something like that. I guess it would take an act of desperation where people are just like, or an executive order, maybe, I guess. But water recycling is another thing. They call this water recycling in Scottsdale. They do it, reuse programs where a lot of the golf courses are recycled water. I mean, if you ever go to a golf course, you'll think that it's like pumping water off the Colorado or something. No, that's all sewage water. Like, don't ever touch or drink that water at a golf course. That stuff is disgusting. It is definitely it's recycled water. So, if you're trying to find out where the biggest problems are in Arizona, I would say anything that's getting reliant on the Colorado River right now. So, those places that are reliant on the Colorado, Kingman, Lake Havasu City, kind of pay attention to what's going on out there. But it looks like we've got enough in most areas of Phoenix because of the groundwater and the Salt River. But, if Colorado River keeps declining, that's going to be a big concern. And, as urbanization of the Phoenix metro area keeps expanding, same with Las Vegas. I mean, if growth outpaces conservation, that could be a big problem, right? So we'll see what ends up happening, but pay attention to Lake Mead, pay attention to Lake Powell. That's the Hoover Dam, Glen Canyon Dam. Now let's turn it over to you guys out in the audience. Thank you to 53 people who smashed up the likes. Someone said pouring gray water through a septic is idiotic. Yeah. Someone said, time to ignore all the red tape, government, and environmentalists. Yeah, it's not just the environmentalists, though. You'll see a lot of these like locals. They just complain about everything. I don't know if they're trying to get a payment or a payday or something, but they'll be like, I'm not selling over my dead body. I don't care what it is. You can build around me. You know, those guys too. It's not just the environmentalists, although the environmentalists are like way up here on the list of like people who are stopping progress in a lot of areas. Granny Prepper says, good morning from Kingman. Good morning out in Kingman. Someone says the Chinese are stealing all the water in Marana. They have hay farms and they run to the UAE. Tom says California can't do anything right, especially the light rail. That was a big thing. Yeah, the light rail is way overdue, right? They get 59 people who smashed up the lakes. If we get it to 100, I'll keep going. Someone says Salt River is mostly dry except the man-made part in Tempe. Salt River is not mostly dry. The Salt River is not mostly dry. I mean, as of right now, what is the? I was hearing that Roosevelt got enough water. I mean, in between there, I mean, the Salt River in between, I don't know, Granite Reef and the Rio Salado might look like it's, might look like it's empty, but it's always looked like that ever since I can remember. I mean, they've never let water go through from Granite Reef to downtown Tempe, really. So unless there was like massive flooding happening, but that's not a way to gauge the Colorado or the Salt River, because the Salt River at the Granite Reef forks off into several different canals, the canals that go into Mesa and all that. So I don't know where you're getting the information that the Salt River is running dry. I mean, I'm not saying it's not, but I'd love to hear where you got that information. T. Anthony says, what about the 100-year requirements? Yeah, we talked about that earlier in the video. So that's aquifers, right? And that's required. They say we're at 500 years. That's what they're saying. I mean, that's what the county officials, although the governor, Katie Hobbs, don't get me started on that one, but she was, it's really hard to watch her talk. I'm sorry. I've tried. It has nothing to do with politics of what party she represents. But when I watch her talk, I'm just like, how is this our governor? She sounds like she's almost like on something, like a sedative or something. Ducey was all right. I thought Ducey was pretty sharp. I mean, but we'll see. I think Katie Hobbs seems like a nice person, I guess. But as far as like the state leader, I'm like, how did that end up happening? How did that end up happening? I don't know, man. I don't know. But I was listening to her talk. It sounded like I was listening to a high schooler talk. It was that bad. Someone says she sounds like a kindergarten teacher. Yeah, I mean, kindergarten teachers are nice people. I'm not trying to say she's not a nice nice person, but when it comes to like being the governor of the state, I'm kind of like, man, it's almost like she's spent too much time at the hippie commune and doing too much of the green plant or something. I don't know. That's just what it sounds like. She seems like a nice person, though. We'll see. Someone says Arizona needs to copy Orange County's sanitation district and water district in recycling water. I was there for 27 years and it recycles 100 mgd. Okay. Someone says, good morning from Marana, Arizona. Nice. How's the water situation down in Marana? Keith says, from Far East Mesa to Tempe, it's dry. Yeah, from Mesa to Tempe, it's dry. It's always been dry. I don't know how long you've been out here, Keith. I know what you're talking about. It's always like that. It's always dry. I mean, the only time it's not dry is if there's a flash flood or something, or they're trying to put water under the Rio Salado. But that's always been dry, and that's because they dam it up they dam it upstream. But that whole area right there has nothing to do with the water supply. That was purposely dammed up. Go up there to the Granite Reef Dam, and then go up to the next one, Canyon Lake and Saguaro Lake, and then you'll see what the water supply looks like. By the way, the Verde River just up past the Granite Reef actually dumps into the Salt River right there. You can actually go where the tributaries meet. You'll see where the Verde River and the Salt River meet. It's just upstream of the Granite Reef Dam. So if you really wanted to see what was going on out there, you can look it up. I think what's the name of that area? Verde Salt River. Let me see. There's I keep forgetting the name. It's kind of a weird name out there. It's like a state park kind of area. Let me see if I can get you the name. Let's see here. The name of the area. So you know where the Salt River tubing is, right? It's Fawn D. Sutton. And I say it's funny because Fawn, Phon, but that was the name of the person, Fawn D. Sutton. So you go just upstream of the Red Mountain. And I would say if you're at Coon Bluff, you're probably too far because the area where the actual confluence meet or where the rivers meet, that's at Fawn D. Sutton. So Phon. You can go down there, walk down there, and you'll see the actual Verde River and the Salt River where it meets. He says, I grew up in Los Angeles. I'm just saying the lower Salt River is not dependable for water. Yeah, no, I mean, when you're talking about the lower Salt River, are you taking into account the Salt River project reservoirs? I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. Because the Salt River project intentionally stopped the water from passing through there. Because they don't, it's called water catchment. They're catching the water. They're making sure the water doesn't go to waste. That's why they've dammed it up. Same with the Gila River. There's a huge lake up there with the Gila River. The Gila River, but you go down to Florence, the Gila River is a big, wide riverbed, but it's completely dry. It used to run like a mofo back in the day. Go down to Florence. Go right down there to Florence. It's dry. It's bone dry. You'll see it. But that's because they dammed it up there upstream. At the what's that? Coolidge Dam, huh? San Carlos Reservoir. Now that's an interesting reservoir situation, isn't it? The Gila. Thank you to the 74 people who smashed up the likes. If you haven't already liked the video and you want me to keep going, smash up the likes. We got 190 people watching. Someone said Fawn Sutton is the spot. Don't tell anyone. Yeah, Fawn D. Sutton is cool. I mean, it's a good area to put your kayak in the water and go down to Granite Reef and see some wild horses if you like wild horses. Someone said, why don't the tribes in northern Arizona get resource access to the Colorado River? Good question, Michael. Why don't the tribes in northern Arizona get resource access to, what kind of resource access would you like them to get? Because the Havasupai tribe, they've you can't even go down to Havasupai Falls anymore. You know, the beautiful Havasupai Creek and all that. You can't even go down there anymore. Someone said, Joel from Mooresville, North Carolina. Good morning, Joel. Salt water is a pipe dream. Sorry for the pun. Salt water is a pipe dream. Yeah, I mean, it is a pipe dream. We'll see if we can pipe it in from Sea Cortez. Where do you guys think they should pipe it in for the desal? Do you think they should bring it in from Southern California or Sea Cortez? It seems like the Sea Cortez would be less mountainous. I mean, I could probably, if you look on the map, you could probably see it's a little bit easier. I mean, you just come up through Yuma. You just come up through Yuma. I'd say you put it right there at the Colorado River Delta. And I mean, heck, if you really wanted to, you just follow the route of the Salt River. I mean, the Gila River. Because where the Salt River and the Gila collide, it turns into the Gila River. That's why they call it Gila Bend, right? But I would say just if you wanted to route the water up, just put a big desal plant right there on the Gulf of California and then just run the pipe right there through the middle of the freaking Gila River. Seriously, why not? I mean, the route's already there. That's what I would do. I mean, that's the path of least resistance. I mean, if you tried to bring it in from California, oh boy, they got some mountains out there. Palomar Mountain, they got all types of mountains you got to go over. I mean, once you get up to Salton Sea, that area is pretty flat. You could plug into, I guess you could do two. You could do two desal projects. You could do one in Southern Cal, and then you could do one in Sea Cortez. That way you're not completely dependent on one or the other. That would be the best way to do it, right? Salt is destructive to machinery. Yeah, but I mean, look at Dubai. Dubai's got a massive desalination project going, and they've got like 7 million people. I mean, Dubai can do it. Why can't Phoenix? Saudi Arabia can do it. Saudi Arabia is turning its whole desert green. You guys heard about that? Thank you. 88 people who smashed up the likes. Someone says, I was thinking about moving to Tucson, but y'all scare me about the water. Tucson's doing fine, actually. Tucson's actually in a better position with water than even Phoenix. And Phoenix is supposedly got a 100-year supply. But the areas in Phoenix that are not doing so hot are around like Buckeye and Queen Creek. Someone said, what's the estimated cost? Well, we got to get out of it. We got to stop thinking about how much it's going to cost. I mean, if something needs to get done, you got to do it. You just got to do it. It's got to get done. It's got to get done. I mean, it's not like wasteful spending to invest in water infrastructure. I know what you're saying. How much is it going to cost? I mean, it's probably going to cost a lot, especially as these these wasteful spenders come in. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, it's probably at some point in time, it could be part of a national emergency, I would say if it's something that's got to get done, you got to do it. It's like the Colorado. How much do you think the Hoover Dam cost to build? How much do you think the Glen Canyon Dam cost? Back in the day, those were major engineering marvels. How much do you think the Roosevelt Dam cost? How much do you think Saguaro Lake or Canyon Lake or Bartlett Lake or any of those cost? I mean, your grandparents paid for it, right? I mean, what this generation, I kid you not, it's like we don't want to think about this. Who built the whole highway system in the country? It wasn't this generation. I mean, we build a couple highways and everyone loses their cool over how much it's going to cost. But think about all the highway systems that were built by your grandparents' generation. Why can't this generation build without spending? Back in the day, I don't think they had wasteful spending. Smonsequences says, cost doesn't matter. Pay American workers and use American products. Corbin says, water is life. Anything else to afford it. Yeah, I mean, you got to have water. I mean, water, it's like defense, you're going to pay all this money for defense, but you're not going to pay to have water and, clean sanitation. Of course you are. There's some things that are requirements. Someone said, just don't let California build it. Well, I mean, we're kind of stuck on that. The only other plan that I came up with or that I kind of heard was like, the Great Lakes, they have a lot of water up there, but Minnesota's got how many lakes? I mean, what if we pipe down the water from the Great Lakes? That's fresh water just sitting there. But how much of that Mississippi River goes into the ocean every year, right? I mean, that's a huge river that goes all into the ocean. How much of the Missouri? How much of the, we got lots of rivers that just dump into the ocean. That's wasteful water. That's another way to pipe money. I mean, it's going to be a further distance and, getting over some of those mountains, and you couldn't go through the Rockies. You wouldn't want to go pipe it through the Rockies. So you'd have to go through New Mexico, but we'll see what ends up happening. Granny says, who's going to pay for it? We're going to pay for it, Granny. The American people are going to pay for it. We got to. Who else? I mean, ask your grandparents who paid for it. Who paid for the highway system to be built? Who paid for the rail system? Who paid to connect America from sea to shining sea? Who built the Hoover Dam? Who built all these things? This generation doesn't have to build anything, I see. I would say, if anything, instead of complaining about who's going to pay for it, I would say let's hold the people who are going to waste the money accountable. Let's talk about the waste of money. That's who. Can you guys hear me pretty good? Someone said money isn't real anyway. Can you guys hear me? I'm getting some sort of like error message. It says more than one ingestion is using the primary URL. How about flood channel from the Mississippi going west to Arizona? Probably cheaper. Yeah, I mean, it's probably you'd probably want to think multi-dimensional, right? Like have some coming in off the Mississippi and the Missouri and all that. Have some coming in off of California, maybe even talk to Mexico about a desal because they're going to need it for Sonora and Sonoita and all that anyway, right? So I'd say, let's have that conversation. Thank you, Alice, for letting me know. Thank you, Keith, for letting me know. Thank you, Judy, for letting me know. Hey, Mac, what about cloud seeding? Oh, yeah. You guys ever seen that video of what looked like Palos Verdes pumping some sort of cloud up into the sky? Some guy was going down I-10 and he pulled over to the side of the road and he's like, what is going on with the nuclear power plant here? It looked like Palos Verdes was pumping clouds into the sky. That was a few years ago. Anyone else see that? I don't know. I didn't see it with my own eyes. I don't know if it's AI or what. Someone said, what about all the golf courses in the water they use? We already talked about that. That's repurposed water. That's recycled water. That's sewage water. Don't drink that. That's golf courses use sewage water. It's called water reclamation. Yeah, that's recycled water. Someone says San Onifer. San Onifer, is San Onifer open? What is that, a power plant or a desal? Last time I was at San Onifer, it looked like it was done. It looked like it was down. Someone said, I'm worried about Yuma's aquifer when the cobalt factory is up and running. Cobalt. Why aren't most people rainwater harvesting? There's zoning requirements, I think, for rainwater harvesting. I mean, there's always this idea like, okay, so we talked about this back on one of our prepping situations. Believe it or not, a backyard pool can be a backup water supply. You think about it, it could be a backup water supply in your backyard and you didn't even realize it. Yeah, it's got chlorine. Stop putting chlorine in there. But filter that could be a backup water supply. You need something to put a tarp over it or something to keep it from evaporating in a crazy situation. But some people talk about going in their backyard, taking a 100-gallon or I don't know, like maybe 1,000-gallon tank. Who knows what these people got in their backyards, burying the tank, and then that's their backup water supply for whoever knows for however long. Or some people, they go out and they get these 5-gallon jugs and they fill up 5-gallon jugs and they have like 10 of them on hand. Don't do that, guys. But I mean, you could do that, but people have done all types of things as backup water supply. Someone said, did your water heaters go bad lately? They say it's because of the data centers. The electric bill went up. I would say the infrastructure that Arizona needs for the future, I mean, they're going to have to talk about another nuclear power plant. They're going to have to talk about it. A lot of the places in Arizona are going to need more nuclear fusion. They have some really advanced nuclear fusion these days because of all the data centers. But nuclear fusion, desalination, those are things that are going to have to get done. Those are projects that are going to have to get done. It's going to. I don't see how it doesn't get done. Someone says water is a privilege, not a right. We could wake up and have no water. Yeah. Someone said water should be a right. Someone said chlorine and bleach evaporates quickly. Yeah, but I mean, there's ways to think about how to ergonomically structure your backyard to where you've got a backup water supply. Someone said nuclear uses a lot of water too. Heck yeah, it does. Geez, to cool those nuclear reactors, my goodness. But there's gonna have to be a conversation about building some desalination plants or running some pipelines in from the Mississippi. I don't know how much longer they're gonna wait, but I would say the time is now. And time is now. Thank you, 110 people who smashed up the likes. Someone says, stop trying to farm in the desert. Yeah, in this day and age, we don't really need to farm. I mean, we got cap and trade or what, free trade agreements, or if we need some bananas, we'll get them from El Salvador or Mexico if we need avocados, right? What about cloud seeding? I'm not an expert on cloud seeding. And I know that, people talk about the chemtrails going across the sky and they talk about all this stuff. I know that one time I was in Dubai about 2 years ago, and it was like 5 in the morning, and my phone went off with like this alert. It goes, and I was like, what? And they're like, thunderstorm warning. And then like a minute after the thunderstorm warning came like this massive bolt of lightning in Dubai. And they'll tell you straight up they do cloud seeding over there. So it was cloud seeding event. And I woke up in the morning, went outside, and the whole city was flooded because they didn't build when they built Dubai, they didn't build any drainages. So now they're doing cloud seeding and flooding it, trying to create like, more of a green place. And it floods the roads. Like the whole Sheikh Zayed road was flooded, like all this, but they don't care. They just clean it all up right away. But it's crazy. I mean, that was cloud seeding. That was they can make it rain. They can make it rain if they really wanted to. I mean, I don't know if you guys are pro cloud seeding or against cloud seeding, but that is an option. You're right. Fission. They can't do fusion power yet. Okay. Nuclear fission. There you go. Jens, wow, that's crazy. Pretty cool stuff. Oh yeah, I mean, go look up Dubai thunderstorm. I filmed it and put it on TikTok. It got like 75,000 views, and that was just a regular video, just watching people try and drive through the streets of Dubai with floods. They do it like once or twice a year. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think cloud seeding is definitely. I think Arizona's done some cloud seeding. I think we can look it up. Let me see. Has Arizona done cloud seeding? What do you guys think about cloud seeding? I mean, it's man-made weather mod. A lot of people have a problem with it, but they've been doing it all the way since 1950s, 1970s. Pioneers like Irving P. Cook conducted airborne cloud seeding over central Arizona. Mogollon Rim winter trials. The Bureau of Reclamation ran cloud seeding experiments aimed at winter orographic clouds over the Mogollon Rim. Santa Catalina mountain test in 1957 to 64 created 24-hour precipitation. Central Arizona Project helps fund cloud seeding in the upper Colorado River Basin, primarily Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah, to boost snowpack that eventually benefits Arizona water supply. Ooh, CAP. So there you go. Salt River Project is exploring computer module cloud seeding scenarios for the White Mountains region through actual field operations. See, when you hear cloud seeding, you automatically think it's negative, right? But is it? Would you guys support cloud seeding? Someone said, don't trust people to play around with the weather. They've already been playing around with the weather, brother. This is the DOD was playing around with the weather in World War II. I mean, this is not a new technology. That's almost 100-year-old technology, man. I mean, that's so. I know what you're saying, though. I know what you're saying. It's just like anything, can be used for good or can be used for bad. Whoa. Someone said we don't have to support it. They'll do it anyway. Oh yeah. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Someone said, okay, we already into that. Sweet. Yeah, they've already been doing it, Jen. Someone said Arizona water usage statewide has actually remained fairly flat since the 70s, as we have lost a lot of agriculture while gaining lots of residential. Yeah. They used to grow a ton of cotton in Arizona. They used to grow I mean, what else do they grow down there? Squash, cotton. Cotton was the main crop that I remember. Like where Arizona Cardinals play football was a big cotton area. Someone said, I live in northern Arizona. We are losing our reservoirs due to huge agricultural increase of winery production. Oh, so, okay. So if you're talking winery, you're in northern Arizona or you're in Cottonwood. I don't think Cottonwood's considered northern Arizona, but isn't the area around Cornville, Cottonwood, the Arizona wine country you're talking about? That's Verde Valley. Is that what you're talking about? Someone said Florence or Rio Rico. We just passed a law here in Florida, no geoengineering chemtrails. Yeah. Someone said watermelons are grown in Arizona. Some places, yeah, you can easily grow those in your backyard. Like things that you can grow in your backyard right now in the summertime: watermelons, squash, cantaloupe, tomatoes, chili peppers. Those will all grow right now. I mean, you might have to shield them from the sun a bit, but you can grow all that. I even grew a massive, what do they call those? What was it? It produces a big purple flower, artichoke. I grew a big artichoke in my backyard. I was trying to grow a pineapple, but that wasn't as easy to grow. I mean, they grow pumpkins up there every year. During Halloween, everyone goes up to that old area, Young's Farm. I don't know what it's called now. Um, Someone says, I believe seeding uses dry ice, silver iodine. What here? What do they use for cloud seeding? Is it dry ice or silver iodine? Yeah, it's silver iodine. Sodium chloride table salt also used for warm cloud seeding, and then calcium chloride, dry ice. Yeah, you were right. That's one of the ways they do it. The way they deliver the materials is through aircraft or ground-based generators. That's what I think they saw out at Palos Verdes Palos Verdes. It looked like Palos Verdes was making clouds. You guys seen that? Anyone out there seen that? I was amazed. It looked like the power plant was literally making clouds. It was like pumping big plumes of clouds into the sky. Yeah, I mean, rainwater catchment for the public or the private there shouldn't even be a question about it, right? It should just be allowed. Someone says, Mesa used to be the #1 supplier of sun-kissed oranges. Yeah, I still see citrus out there. But yeah, that's another thing that you can grow in your backyard quite easily. Orange trees, lemon trees, grapefruit trees. You put them in the ground, they'll grow. Just shoot right up. Someone said, I propose a thorium, no uranium based nuclear power plant. What's the most atomic nuclear energy? Let's say, what is the most efficient nuclear energy? Let me pull this up. Most efficient nuclear energy is fuel efficiency. Which one? Fast breeder reactors, FBR, fuel efficiency extremely high. Molten salt reactors, MSR. What? Let me see this here. Uranium. So uranium is the #1 most efficient nuclear fuel. U-235 nucleus absorbs a neutron. It slips fissions, releasing a lot of energy. Efficiency: 1 gram of U-235 released 24 million kilowatts of energy. If you go down, right after that is plutonium-239, created by uranium in breeder reactors. And then there's thorium. No fissile itself, but in reactor, it absorbs a neutron and turns into uranium, which is fissile. Potentially very efficient is thorium. Thorium is more abundant than uranium, and reactors can theoretically extract almost all the energy from reducing waste. There you go. Thorium seems like it's pretty efficient, doesn't it? Most efficient in terms of energy mass, deuterium or plus tritium, DT fusion of these hydrogen isotopes releases enormous energy. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, this technology still seems like we've got, thorium. Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks for bringing that up to my attention. We'll have to pay attention to thorium. Someone says Tucson gives you a rebate to install rainwater harvesting systems. There you go. Good ideas, Tucson. Tucson's moving forward with the future. Someone said, could cloud seeding us be bad for the soil or our agriculture? Good question. I mean, yeah, I mean, how much of that silver iodine or any of the stuff, whether it be dry ice or how much of that residue comes onto the ground and how much of a, toxin is it. Let's look that up. Can cloud seeding be toxic for soil? Let's look that up. What materials are used? Silver iodine, the most common, sodium chloride, salt, and calcium chloride. Is silver iodine toxic? Silver iodine is only slightly soluble in water, and its use is in tiny amounts, often a few grams per seeded cloud. Environmental studies suggest concentrations in rainwater and soil stay far below toxic levels. Soil impacts. No significant accumulation of silver in soil or vegetation has been found. So they're saying no, silver iodine is not toxic. Cloud seeding in general is not considered toxic to soil under current practices. Silver iodine does not build up to harmful levels in most environments. Monitoring continues, so they'll continue to monitor it. But as of right now, cloud seeding does not appear to have too much environmental risk. Atlas says rainwater is not what it used to be. Yeah. Jen says she's growing some citrus trees. Cody says, I live in Cornville near Sedona. When I was a kid, the water was great. Now it's full of minerals and sand. Two neighbors both had to put in deeper wells. Wine country. Huh. Okay. Good to know. Someone said there was a video on thorium reactors filmed by John Coleman. I'll have to take that. Is that on YouTube? I'll take a look at that. Thank you. Smash up the likes if you guys want me to keep going. We're at 137 likes. How's everyone doing this weekend? Where are you guys tuning in from? How many people are in the house from Arizona? What part of Arizona? How many people are outside Arizona? Where are y'all tuning in from? Someone said massive underground brackish water in northeastern Arizona desalinate. Brackish water in northeastern Arizona? Wow. All right, so we got Prescott in the house, Wickenburg in the house, Wilcox, Glendale in the house, Green Valley, Arizona, Tucson, White Mountains. Nice. How's the weather up in the White Mountains today? Prescott Valley, Arizona, Orlando in the house, Avondale, Arizona here, Parker, Kingman. Nice. Sedona, Cornville, Scottsdale, Scottsdale. What are you doing in Scottsdale, Hal? What's going on out there, man? Show low, show high, show low. And what do they got? Pocket aces. Tucson in the house. Snowflake, nice today. I'll bet it's a beautiful morning out in Snowflake today. Stuart, Florida. Quartzsite, Arizona. Ooh, RV, man, you stay cool out there. I hope you're staying cool. Ooh, Quartzsite in the summertime is a beast of a place to be. Ada, Oklahoma. I used to do something with prepaid legal. San Diego, Los Angeles in the house. Wake Forest, North Carolina. Moving to Chandler in October. Yuma, Tucson needs to change. Oh gosh, dude, come on now. Oh man, you guys are gonna get me in trouble on here. What the heck? Ventura, Green Valley, Arizona. Smart agriculture technology, sensors, drones, aerial imaging for crop monitoring, pest detection, field mapping, IoT, Internet of Things, AI, and machine learning, robots, cloud computing. What were you going to say, Atlas? What is this in reference to? What happened, New York gal? Anyways, yeah. 144 people. Smash up the likes. Get us to 200. Get it to 200. We'll keep going. Coming up on 50 minutes into the live stream here. Yeah, I don't know about the there's a lot of new technologies coming out. I mean, we're really dialing it in with so many different new technologies. Grafton, Wisconsin, Fallbrook, North San Diego County in the house. No water in Arizona. I keep saying I'm heading there. It's fine. There's enough water. It's certain things that you need to know about the water. The one water supply that you need to pay attention to, which pretty much provides most of the water for West Phoenix. That's another reason why I wouldn't move to West Phoenix. They suck off the CAP, the Colorado River. The Colorado River is the one that's a bit low. That's the one that's a bit low. I'm not going to say it, Anthony. Oh my God. That's funny. Someone said, not enough power plants to charge billion batteries. A study hasn't been on EV car. Yeah, I mean, what are they going to do when when everyone gets an electric vehicle? I mean, one thing's for sure, they need new power plants. They need more power plants. I was actually going to invest in Exxon, Chevron. Those are two energy companies that I think are going to be, right now everyone's investing in NVIDIA and all these like robotics and AI data center companies. But soon it's going to transfer to where they're going to be like, we need energy for all this stuff, and who's in better position to fuel all that energy than Chevron and ExxonMobil? I mean, is there any other energy companies? Shell, I guess. Someone says, where's the best area for water? I just came on. Well, I would say anytime you can dig your own well. I mean, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good water supply. But if you want good, solid water supply, I mean, probably up in the White Mountains, anywhere near a running river. Although that theory went out the heck out the window with what's going on in Rio Verde these days, Rio Verde foothills. They can't get enough water, yet they got the Rio Verde right there, the Green River. Rio Verde's right next to Rio Verde foothills, and they can't get enough water. I don't know what's going on with that. Doesn't make any sense. Someone said, watch an interesting video on YouTube recently suggesting we should all allow Lake Powell to reseed and return to the river canyon and shift to storage to Mead. Yeah, I mean, that's a really good point. I mean, at this point in time, what's the need for Lake Powell? I mean, Mead is at 35%. Even if the 35% from Lake Powell comes in, that's going to put it at 70%. I don't know if the water capacities are the exact same, but I mean, I would say they could still probably bust the dam at Glen Canyon, let the water run through into Lake Mead. And I mean, what is the point of Lake Powell these days except for recreation? Honestly, I wouldn't be disappointed if we evolved beyond dams anyway and let the Gila River run again, let the Salt River run again, let the Colorado run all the way through again. But that would be because we went back, we found other ways to get water, but that'd be that'd be cool. I had a dream one time that I took a river boat from Phoenix down into the Sea of Cortez. Crazy dream, I know. And I think even in that dream, I was riding like a speedboat up and down the Gila River from Sea of Cortez up to Phoenix. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. Someone said, apparently the distribution is from Mead primarily. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Lake Mead is at like 35% right now. And it's been like that forever, for a long time, like 10 years almost. Sun City in the house. P connect the Mississippi to Lake Powell. Yeah. People in the Midwest will never let that happen. That's in line with the locals who are going to complain about any sort of project. If you ever told people in the Midwest that you're going to redistribute some of that Mississippi and Ohio River and Missouri River runoff and pump it down into the desert Southwest, they would complain like no other. They'd be like, screw them. They shouldn't live in the desert. That's what they're going to say. That's what they already are saying. Someone said a hovercraft might do it. Yeah, with a little bit of water. Heck, I'd say, what's the point of having that San Carlos Reservoir anyway? What is the point of San Carlos Reservoir? I'd love to see the Gila River run. That's a Big river, man. You guys ever been down to Florence and just look at the Gila River from, downtown Florence was built right along the river right there, right? They used to have river boats going up and down the Gila River at that point. And I think they'd take the Gila River all the way down to Buckeye by riverboat. Now it's just bone dry out there, man. Someone said here in Imperial County, the Imperial Irrigation District's contract company is to spray on banks of our raw water supply herbicide, oh man. Yeah, they spray the heck out. I mean, they have a legitimate reason for why they have to spray, although that spray is not good for anybody. Like, I mean, the crops, anyone who's grown any sort of like, have you guys grown even in the backyard in Arizona? I mean, there's constant pests eating away. You got to really stay on top of it. I mean, you got to spray something to get those little caterpillars off of there. Portland, Oregon in the house. Rimrock, Arizona in the house. I was almost going to buy some land in Rimrock. I was going to have to dig a well. Like maybe 15% of the property was on a flat zone. The rest was on the cliff of the over there by Montezuma. Someone said, I've been to Arizona twice and absolutely loved it. I'm originally from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, but I'd love to move to Arizona someday for the hiking and outdoor lifestyle. Yep. Tony says, I heard there's smart cities being in the desert in Arizona. Ooh. Well, Belmont, if that's the one you're talking about, they say they're going to build it, but as of right now, that's the only one that I know of in Arizona, smart city in Arizona. By the way, I don't see a problem with smart cities. I don't see a problem with intelligent design. That's like someone getting mad because someone says life by design, right? So life by design, people using technology to enhance their health, like, I don't know, Joe Rogan uses like cyrotherapy and all these different things. Like smart cities, all it is just an evolution into a more intelligent design that matches the modern world. Now, you could make the case technology in the wrong hands could be a bad thing, but I don't see a problem with having smart design cities. I don't. I mean, I've been around cities that are really intelligently designed. That's called efficiency. I mean, if you hate traffic, you should be all about smart grid. If you like efficiency of where you live, you should be into smart grid. Public safety, smart grid, environmental smart grid, greenery, civics, engagement. I mean, community gatherings, like that's what smart cities represent. It's pairing up with the modern era. Right now, we're living in industrial era cities, and they just don't work. I mean, dude, I'm telling you, these industrial cities, they're going to be a thing of the past. We have to innovate. You have to innovate. We got to get out of this idea. Some people have this idea that innovation is bad. It's like that's how America built itself into the greatest country in the world, by innovation, ingenuity. Right now, China is leading the way. I mean, you have to be competitive. You can't be scared to move forward. I get it. It's hard if you're getting older, you got to evolve, but I don't know what to tell you if you don't want to evolve. Someone said electromagnetic radiation makes people sick. Where are they doing that? Decentralized smart city. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for modernization of a smart grid that works without evil. I mean, I'm not for smart grids that concentrate wealth and create more evil in the world. But that's why they're talking about all this crazy stuff, bringing in all these jobs and building all these like chip plants and all that in Arizona. And the thing is, Arizona doesn't have the workforce. We have a brain drain in Arizona. We don't have enough talented, skilled workers in Arizona to do the tech jobs. So they have to import them from Taiwan. Get ready. There's going to be a lot of people coming in from Taiwan, moving into Arizona. And that's okay, because these are people who are going to do the jobs of the future. And so, people coming in from India, they're going to do the jobs of the future. Either that, or you Arizona people stop complaining about, "Oh, I got to modernize," and re-educate. We're going to have to re-educate, including me. I'm going to have to, start paying attention to all the new technologies so that, because that's the direction this world's going, modernizing. And, your kids, get them into the careers of the future. Don't put them into things that are not, I'm not saying civics is bad. I mean, if someone wants to take music in college, I guess so. But I mean, nowadays, software can write music better than a composer. But smart cities equal electromagnetic radiation. Well, let's make smart cities clean of electromagnetic radiation. I mean, it's like these cell phones. These things, they're radiating against your ear, or your thigh. I mean, what do we got to do to make that clean? Hal says we do have a lot of tech employees. They bring people in on H-1Bs because they are way cheaper. Uh, I don't know about that. They're having to pay a lot of Taiwanese a lot of money. Most of the Taiwanese people coming in from Taiwan to Arizona are making 100K plus. That's not really too cheap. The reason they're bringing them in from Taiwan to the U.S. is because Arizona, in particular, or a lot of America, doesn't have the skills or the know-how. You can look it up. I mean, it's known as the Arizona brain drain. People in Arizona just don't have the aptitude to do the jobs, and I'm one of them. But it doesn't mean that you got to hate on the people who are coming in to do the job that you can't do. If anything, if you don't like it, then you're going to have to educate yourself and get schooled up. That's how that problem gets solved. So, I mean, you can complain about the smart people, or you can become one of the smart people. You got two choices, my friends. I know a lot of you know what I'm talking about. Someone said, I'm getting ready to move to Tucson in a month. I'm nervous. Why are you nervous, Ladybug? What are you nervous about? Yeah, my son is in the guard and undecided if he wants to do it. If you go into phone settings, it does have a radiation warning. That's true, Hannah. That is true. I mean, that is true. Scary, huh? That's why you're supposed to get one of those electromagnetic cases. Selling for like $20 on Amazon. I had one, but it's like a flip. It flips around. It's got a little leather on the outside and electromagnetic shield on it. Supposedly it's safe to put in your pocket, but it's so annoying to use. Marion says, I need to train to do something else. It's a great time to learn computer science. It's a great time to learn about like a lot of different things. AI. I recently spent like 2 weeks just diving into all the new AI tools and robotics. I mean, I'm 42. I don't want to get left behind. I don't want to be one of those people that, never modernizes to stay up with the time. So I'm like, ooh, new thing comes out, creates an inconvenience for me. That means I got to study it, but actually it's kind of fun. I get a cup of coffee and I just study it. It actually becomes like a little hobby. I become obsessed with it for like 2 weeks. And then once I learn everything and I get caught up on it, I'm already bored again. I'm like, all right, well, I learned everything I needed to learn. On to the next. Lana says, I live in Phoenix and I'm seeing flying orbs every night. Where? Really? Take a video of it. Someone says, I'm 40 and still want to learn. Yeah, I love learning. Like, never stop learning. Isn't that the rule? Like, never stop learning. So, I mean, people they make an excuse why they should have to keep learning, because that's how we get as people. We get lazy. But, I mean, there's new technologies coming. They're telling us it's coming. Learn it. Don't get scared of it. Don't resist it. Embrace it. And if if anything, if you think that there's something dangerous about it, create the remedy to make it less dangerous. Create the safety mechanism. There's opportunities abound, people. It's like we just got to a point where we want everything to be done for us and we don't want to have to do anything. And it's like the old rule is like, anytime there's a problem, that's a business opportunity for whoever solves it. So if you identify that there's electromagnetic radiation coming from smart cities, well, let's find the solution. Let's find the remedy to fix it. How do we heal? How do we fix it? How do we protect? It's like PPE, it's a helmet. What's a helmet? It's a rash guard. That's what we do. It's sunscreen, sunblock. We create safety, PPE, protective equipment. Someone said UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena. Probably mycelium. Okay, mycelium. Anthony, you are on one today, man. Um, have have bad how bad are the electric bills in the summer in Arizona? About $200 to $300, depending on how big your house is. I mean, if you're worried about electric bill, don't get a 2-story house. There you go. Someone says, I walk my dog all the time and I haven't seen anything unusual in the sky except the military helicopters a few weeks ago. Yeah, I got to be honest with you. Aside from the Starlink stuff, I haven't seen anything too crazy. Someone says your body is programmable biodigital interface vac. Okay, well, could be. It really could be. Millennials Best says, mycelium is a natural network. Human body has a fascia. They use it as a network and is crystalline. I mean, where did you get all this information? How do you know? How do you know that it's a matter of fact? Just because you saw it on TikTok? I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying people send me these TikToks all the time about all sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff are on TikTok. I mean, the craziest stuff. Tell me, what's the craziest thing someone sent you on TikTok lately? Okay, I'll give you a few. One was they tried to say that the Earth was flat, and that's why they never have any flights going from Auckland, New Zealand, or from Australia to Santiago, Chile. So, okay, they sent it to me and they show me the route. They're like, all the flights from Australia to Santiago go through Los Angeles, which line up perfectly with this flat Earth map. First thing I do is just fact check it. Simple fact check. I go on Google Flights and I say Sydney to Santiago, direct flights, nonstop. Sure enough, 3 flights, 4 flights, five flights going every day from Sydney to Santiago. They're 12-hour flight. I'm like, a simple fact check resolved that one right away. That one's done because there's already. And then someone said, "Oh yeah, have you ever done the flight? They cancel them all the time." I'm like, "Okay, do I really need to fly down to Sydney and then fly to Santiago and film it for y'all to show it?" I'm not going to go do that because I'm sure there's flights. Or people have already done it, but that was one good one. Then there was this thing about Antarctica. They tried to show me a whole map of things that are beyond the ice wall. Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one. That was a good one. I mean, people will do a lot of things for clicks. I don't know who Sabrina Wallace is. I'll check her out. But, what makes her the resident expert on all this stuff? I'm not saying she's wrong, but, turning us into cyborgs. And I mean, there is a such thing as like transhumanism. 7,000 islands in Japan didn't show up out of nowhere. They internationally agreed on that, not to put them on the maps. 7,000 islands in Japan. Okay. What towns in Arizona are water deprived of conditions they are in now in July 2025? Oh, well, yeah. So we talked about this at the beginning, but I'll run through them again. The areas are around Rio Verde Foothills, Scottsdale, Buckeye and West Phoenix, Kingman, Mojave County, Payson, Gila County, Wilcox and Cochise County down in rural southeastern Arizona, La Paz County around like Lake Havasu City could be at risk. Down south of there, like Parker, Quartzsite in particular. Tucson potentially long term has some risk that you should take into consideration. What is my golf handicap? I would say last few times I went out, I was around like 90 to 93. So what would that put me at? Like 18? Yeah. 18. I do a little bit better than bogey golf. I usually get like a birdie and then I'll get like a few pars, but then I'll get a couple double bogeys and give it back. What's going on in the foothills? Little Danny says, get the likes up, guys. Thank you, little Danny. Hit it up to 200, guys. We're at 183, 212 people watching. Emmanuel, I hear you, man. I sometimes I wonder that. Pro V1 or Pro V Max, either one. I mean, I like the golf ball to be a little bit soft because one of my favorite things to do is get backspin on the ball when I hit the green. So I mean, the thing is, those Pro V1s are expensive. I don't know how much a pack of Pro Vs are nowadays, but man, they're expensive. And some of those golf courses in Arizona between the desert and the lakes, let's be real. Heck, I've even had a dog track par 3 course take a couple balls from me. Someone said, I live in Glendale, Arizona. The Roosevelt Reservoir drying up, or the Roosevelt Reservoir, they say this SRP right now is about 68%. The reservoir is along that. Obviously, the Roosevelt being at the top. Someone said, whatever happened to cloud seeding? We already talked about cloud seeding. They were talking about that. We were talking about the contamination that cloud seeding could do, which we researched, came back very minimal. Cloud seeding doesn't really contaminate the soil because they only put so much silver iodine, and then there's several other things that they do, but someone said, oh boy, getting a little feisty in there, huh? I would say, as far as the conspiracy stuff goes, you have to be careful with believing everything you see and hear on the internet. But also, some of it could be valid as well. So, I mean, oh, you're a 5 handicap, Steve? Nice. How far do you hit it? Someone said, I worked in water and wastewater, public works, 35 years in the city, private sectors. City and government is wasteful and efficient. That's for sure, Tony. Andy says, agreed. Strawberry and pine, I heard, were having water issues. Wouldn't be surprised. Pine's been having some issues for sure. Strawberry as well, because it's right next to pine. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to get going, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you to everyone who smashed up the likes. See you on the next one. My handicap's 43.